That's when Humbert first sees Charlotte's daughter Lolita laying by the sprinklers. Her completely soaked clothes makes it hard for Humbert to look away. When Lolita notices him, she smiles widely, revealing her braces. Quietly, Humbert mutters how beautiful she is and then asks Charlotte about the room's rent. Days go by, and Humbert secretly watches Lolita. She is young, carefree, and obsessed with dancing and music, seemingly uninterested in him. He observes arguments between Lolita and her mother, as well as Lolita's lazy moments. One day, Lolita visits Humbert's room. She stands behind his desk, then unexpectedly sits on his lap just to stick her chewing gum onto his notebook. Suddenly, Charlotte calls for her, and Lolita quickly runs away. Upon hearing Charlotte coming, Humbert quickly takes the gum from his notebook and hides it in his mouth. One day, while sitting on a swing, Lolita takes off her braces and puts it on Humbert's glass. Charlotte later joins in, and luckily, the professor was able to put the girl's brackets back. Eventually, Charlotte tells Lolita to pack her things because she has to attend a summer camp. On the day Lolita leaves, Humbert anxiously watches from the window. As Lolita is about to enter the car, she notices Humbert staring. She quickly runs back into the house, races upstairs, and leaps into Humbert's arms. She wraps her arms around him and kisses him goodbye. When she left, Humbert couldn't shake the butterflies in his stomach. He is in love. One day, Humbert receives a letter from Charlotte, admitting her love for him. Although he isn't in love with her, Humbert decides to accept her affection, knowing it would allow him to stay by Lolita's side as her stepfather. He and Charlotte eventually got married in a simple ceremony, but despite Charlotte's clear affection, Humbert keeps his distance. 6 weeks into the marriage, he avoids his marital responsibilities by giving Charlotte sleeping pills. One day, Humbert returns home to find Charlotte at the table, crying. She had read his diary, which revealed his fondness for Lolita. Hurt, Charlotte announces she's leaving and says he'll never see Lolita again. Humbert asks her to calm down and talk about it over a drink, but while he is preparing the glasses, Humbert receives a phone call from a man informing him that Charlotte has died. He rushes outside and discovers that his wife was hit by a car while she was running away from him. A child hands him letters that Charlotte intended to send to her daughter before her fatal accident. Humbert takes the letters back home and burns them. He then heads to Lolita's room to pack her things, as he is planning to visit her. Upon arriving at the camp, Humbert asks for Lolita, and the camp director tells him she has already sent Charlie to pick her up. Since it is an all-girls camp, Humbert is confused, so he asks who Charlie is. Before the director can respond, Lolita appears and cheerfully greets her new stepfather. Lolita asks about her mother, and Humbert lies that she is in the hospital. While Lolita changes clothes in the back seat, Humbert peeks through his mirror. He later mentions missing her, but Lolita coldly replies that she didn't miss him and confesses that she has been unfaithful to him. Humbert stops the car, and before he can say anything, Lolita jumps in front of him and kisses him passionately. They check into a hotel, and while Humbert talks to the receptionist, Lolita crawls towards a dog and starts playing with it. The dog's owner, a wealthy elderly man, remarks that his dog usually hates people but it surprisingly likes her. When Lolita asks why, he replies that his dog likes sweet young people like her. Humbert led Lolita to their hotel room. Once inside, she asked if they would be sharing the same room and bed. Humbert tried to reassure her that he could sleep on the couch if she wanted. Lolita slumped into a chair and called him crazy, mentioning that her mother would immediately divorce him if she found out. Humbert explains that since they didn't have much money, they would need to share a room. While having dinner, Lolita pointed toward a man, saying he was watching them. It was the same man with the dog whom she met earlier. Back in the room, Humbert helped Lolita take off her shoes and socks. She said she wanted to tell him about all the bad things she had done at camp, but he told her to wait until the next day. While she got ready for bed, Humbert stepped out of the room, and on the hotel's porch, he notices the same mystery man rocking in a chair. The man asked where he had found the girl. Humbert claimed she was his daughter, but the man didn't seem to believe him. The man invited them to lunch the next day, but Humbert politely declined, saying they would be leaving soon. When he returned to the room, Humbert carefully lay down right beside his sleeping stepdaughter. The next morning, Lolita woke him up by blowing on his face. She kissed him softly, then leaned in and whispered something. Humbert is surprised to discover that she had lost her innocence to Charlie while at camp. Lolita says she will show him everything, and after untying the strings on his pajama, she smiles. They left the hotel and drove off together. At one point, Lolita asked to stop at a gas station, saying she was in pain. Humbert is frightened by her words, and Lolita explains that she is in pain because of what they did last night. She casually joked about calling the police for what he did, but she finished with a grin, as she was only teasing him. Upon arriving at the store, Lolita asked for coins so she could call her mother. Humbert told her she couldn't, and when she asked why, her stepfather finally told her the truth. Lolita cried for a whole day, and after that, they began moving from place to place, traveling across the country. And each day, Humbert savored each moment that he is alone with her. They eventually arrived at Beardsley College, where Humbert began working as a teacher. He also enrolled Lolita at the nearby Beardsley Prep School, known for its very open and modern approach. One afternoon, Lolita told Humbert that she wanted to join the school play, but her stepfather refused without hesitation. She starts teasing him, demanding that he raise her allowance and allow her to join the play. She tells him that she can always give him his needs as long as he also gives him hers. After some negotiations, Humbert eventually gave in to her demands. While Lolita was busy rehearsing for her role, her classmate Mona spoke with Humbert and pointed out that the man near the exit is the famous Claire Quilty, the writer of their play. Meanwhile, Humbert found himself giving in more often to Lolita's demands, almost like he was paying for her service. Their bond grew colder, and he began to suspect that she was quietly saving money to run away. His suspicions deepened when he found out that Lolita had missed her last 2 piano lessons. When he asked what she had been doing, she said she had been practicing for the play with Mona. Humbert calls Mona to confirm, and Mona did say that they had been rehearsing at the park. However, Humbert wasn't convinced, and it led to a heated argument. He accused Lolita of planning to escape, and she didn't deny it. In frustration, he struck her. She called him a killer and refused to stop shouting at him. Then she ran off using her bike. Humbert later found her bicycle in a pharmacy. Lolita quickly tried to hide that she had been using the phone. She tells him she has come to a decision. She wants to leave Beardsley and go on a trip, but this time, she will be the one to choose their destination. The next day, the pair left Beardsley. Lolita drew a map using her lipstick to guide Humbert on where to go. But during the trip, Humbert noticed that someone was following them, so he asked Lolita to jot down the license plate number. He became suspicious that it might be a detective, the man with the dog whom they met at the hotel. One afternoon, Humbert stopped at a gas station and went inside to try on sunglasses. When he looked out the window, he saw Lolita talking to a man in a hat, but by the time he stepped outside, the man had vanished. Humbert asked Lolita about the man, and she replied that he was only asking for a map. Eventually, they stayed at another inn. Humbert left Lolita for a while to get her some fruits and have himself a haircut. While at the barber shop, he hears on the radio that Claire Quilty is currently in the same town, which unsettles Humbert. When he returned to the inn, he found Lolita on the bed, her feet dirty and her lipstick smudged. He said it looked like she had gone out, but she claimed she had just gotten up. He threw her on the bed and begged her to tell him who the man was. But as he held her, she only smiled, kissed him playfully, and laughed. This gives Humbert a nightmare, so he decides to check into another inn in the middle of the night. As the woman was showing them their room, they noticed Lolita sitting on the ground, looking pale and shaking. At the hospital, the doctor told Humbert it was only a virus and not serious. He warned Humbert to leave so he wouldn't catch it too. The next day, Humbert called to ask about her condition. The nurse said Lolita was doing well and that her uncle Gustav had signed her out. Humbert is terrified, so he rushes to the hospital and furiously asks where his stepdaughter is. He tried looking everywhere, trying to trace the man who took her, but in time, the trail completely disappeared. 3 years later, Humbert received a letter from Lolita. In it, she told him she was now married and expecting a child. She shared how hard things had been and asked if he could send some money to help them get by. Humbert went to visit her and saw that she had grown more mature. She greeted him kindly, and he saw that she was clearly pregnant. She invited him in, and as he walked through the house, he noticed her husband working on some wiring outside the back door. Upon seeing that he is just the same age as her, Humbert quickly realizes he is not the man he is chasing. He asked Lolita who took her, and when she refuses to answer, Humbert turned to leave, saying he will find out himself. Only then did Lolita admit that it had been Claire Quilty all along. She said Quilty was the only man she had truly been crazy about, and when Humbert asked how she had felt about him, Lolita stayed silent. She said everyone knew Quilty had a liking for very young girls and used to film them in his mansion, but when she was asked to do it with groups of men, Lolita refused and was kicked out by Quilty. Humbert asked her to come with him one last time. Lolita thought he was offering money in return for going with him to a motel, but Humbert denied it. He told her she would still receive the money even if she chose not to go with him. Lolita was shocked when she found $4,000 inside the envelope. Humbert asked if she would come with him, but she refused. When he asked if she would ever forgive or forget what he had done to her, she didn't answer directly. Instead, she told her dog to say goodbye to her father. Humbert walked away, feeling broken, and returned to his car. As he got in, he saw Lolita standing there, waving goodbye. After that, Humbert went to Quilty's mansion and ended his life. The earlier scene of Humbert speeding recklessly on the road followed this moment. Police were now chasing him for Quilty's murder. Humbert eventually stepped out of his car, and before the officers could take him, he looked out toward the village where Lolita now lives peacefully, away from the man who ruined her life.